Badass Attitudes, licensed here, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The bus to Badassville is scheduled to come here for you. Pack your stuff. Turn up your energy with Wednesday Wisdom. Here again is Kelly Orchard.
That's right, here we are. It's Wednesday Wisdom. Hop on the bus to Badassville and pack your stuff with Kelly Orchard, the Badass Certifier. So happy that you are here with me on this. It's the last day of June, June 30th. And this is Wednesday Wisdom. And to be perfectly frank and honest with you, I am actually flying out today to Austin, Texas. That's right. I'm leaving town to go and see my daughter and son-in-law who have recently transplanted to that area. And that's kind of what I'm doing today, which is really exciting and fun for me. So, you know, I'm kind of making this a road show in a way, because I think some of my podcasts are actually going to be recorded in a different time zone. But here I am today broadcasting and podcasting from my office space inside Michelle's Place Cancer Resource Center. And you know what? Coming up in August, I'm really thrilled that I am going to be offering grief support for those of you out there who could use a little support in your grief. Grief affects us in so many different ways. Doesn't always necessarily have to be the death of a loved one. So if you'd like more information about my grief support class, I'm calling it Grief 101. Basically, it's an 8-week class. Yes, it's a class. I have some really great and fantastic materials to help guide you through the process of grieving in a healthy way. It's a club that nobody wants to join, and I'm part of it. And I'm really thrilled that I'm going to be able to support people in this manner, because it is part of my own badass journey. So once again, the month of June, Wednesday Wisdom will cover the S in badass. So this is the last day, so we're kind of wrapping it up. Badass, the S in badass stands for stay the course. Remember the badass acronym. So it's the last day of the month. The S in badass stands for successfully badass. So that's going to be the entire month of July. We're going to talk about successful badassery and what that actually means. All right. And then beginning on Monday, I've got a seriously badass friend in the seat of the Mustang as we rev up with some of the freshest of episodes. I've got Joe Von G saying yes to prosperity. And by the way, this month, the Kelly Orchard's Apple a Day podcast, I'm featuring things to say yes to. So how timely it was that Joe hopped in the seat and had something to say yes to. By the way, have you discovered Kelly Orchard's Apple a Day? Yeah, it's on the same podcast platform you're catching this one on right now. Just find Kelly Orchard's Apple a Day. You found Kelly Orchard Badass Certifier. Type my name in again and you'll find my little Apple logo. So I am certifying badasses one podcast at a time. And this is skills and drills for certified badasses on this Wednesday Wisdom. And, I've just kind of let this podcast evolve a little bit, and it's been kind of nice, a little bit simpler for me to do without all the production that I tried to put into it. I did want to review as we wrap up June. Remember that positive psychology changes everything. And so what I've been doing is providing you with some simple tools to grow your purpose, grow your relationships, grow your success. Because success means you've invested, okay? So what happens with that when you invest? The negativity and the bad attitudes, those cost you money, whether you run a business or you're staying at home all by yourself. Either way, your negativity and your bad attitude causes you time, loses you money, peace, and results in stress and anxiety. I like to help you explore relaxation techniques while you're waiting for whatever it is that needs to occur to happen. When we're waiting for a crisis to end, like many of us have with this whole pandemic, I still have maintained my private practice. And so the pandemic and the COVID fears are one thing. But you lay that on top of all the things that you were already going through, that you were already trying to work on. Wow. And so whatever it is that needs to change, you're waiting for your medical diagnosis, or if you're waiting to get a promotion, whatever it is that you've been vying for, Perhaps you're waiting for your business to show its growth or profit ledger. You need to accept there's going to be a pause. And finding peace in that pause prevents us from making poor decisions. It really does. So what are some of the things that one can do in the waiting period? Before we start the discipline, which we did, the D, let's make a list of ideas of how you can cope with the quiet times of waiting, the harvesting, or the smoothing out of the soil. I like to talk about all these seasons of growth as well. It goes along really well with my last name, Orchard, seasons of growth. Apple a day. So, relaxation is one of the things that you can practice while in the pause, like allowing yourself to catch your breath. Make a list of the things that you can do to cope with the pause. Example, I'll give you this. I had to be patient in the waiting while I was finishing grad school. This is quite a while ago. Like I said, I've been licensed now. It's coming up on 8 years. But during that time period, remember, I was completely flipping my entire career from radio broadcasting to trying to become a psychotherapist. So there were subsequent internships after I finished grad school, preparing to take my licensing exams. And although I was moving forward while I continued to work toward my goals, there were definitely times where I was waiting an amount of time for a semester to complete or a job to come through, or the waiting period when I had to schedule time to take my exams necessary for licensure. So what did I do? What did I do during those waiting times? I wrote, I networked, I met new people. I gave myself permission to just relax. I remained faith-filled. I also journaled, and I spent time with my family and some new friends. So what are some of the things that you can do while you're waiting in this pause for what you're already working on, for it to all the components to come together? Well, you could read a good book or two. You could start taking walks. You could write in your own journal. And I've got something for you in a minute about neuroscience and the benefit of writing. What else can you think of? Now I want you to write those ideas down, some of the things that you can do. I do this often with my clients. You can stop the madness and choreograph fun while implementing tools that you can use right now and continue to flip the format on your negativity. I love bringing some sanity and kindness in a world where positivity, confidence, and compassion are definitely in short supply. I've learned to navigate the rough waters of life, and I've gained some mad skills in business. I'm a force to be reckoned with, and I empower you to be that way too. I altered my own destiny and designed the life I wanted. Am I finished? Not by a long shot. I still feel like I have a lot more to accomplish, more to dream, more to create. Do you feel the same? That's why we're flipping the fear on the way we think about it. Okay. So I'm actually, like I said, I'm flying to Austin today to spend a week with my daughter and my son-in-law, who recently relocated there, and 2 of my grandberries. It is not a vacation. It's a new way that I'm able to manage my work and personal life post-pandemic, because I'll still be able to do some phone sessions with my clients and maintain my own level of business productivity, but also not abandon my clients. So that's what I love about this new direction that I can take. I'm able to manage it. So what has shifted in your life that you can and should make the best of? Did you know that writing is very more therapeutic than you realize? I know I had a hard time getting those words out, but it is, and proven by neuroscience. I have this article that I want to share with you from. It's actually Neuroscience News. It's on mental health, and it is a very recent article. I'm going to put it in the show notes so you can see it yourself. But I did want to share this. I am going to read it to you because there's very different ways of writing. And I'm not really sure if I probably learned a lot of this in creative writing classes when I was in high school. I definitely decided that I was going to be what I determined an English major. I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I studied journalism. I studied creative writing. I studied all sorts of writing, and I still do it. And I can honestly say that every single medium that we're talking about in this particular article, I use and I implement, and I could teach you how to do it as well. But, the summary of this article featured, like I said, in Neuroscience News says that, from reflective journaling to creative prose, writing can help boost self-esteem, deepen a sense of self-control, and improve self-awareness. Writing can also help reduce stress, anxiety, and depression. Now maybe you understand why I always push writing onto people. A lot of people don't like writing about their feelings, but the thing is that that's not necessarily what you always need to do. Ernest Hemingway famously said that writers should write hard and clear about what hurts. Although Hemingway may not have known it at the time, research shows that writing about what hurts can improve our mental health. There are more than 200 studies that show positive effect of writing on mental health. But while the psychological benefits are consistent for many people, researchers don't completely agree on why or how writing helps. The theory in this article says that bottling up emotions can lead to psychological distress. Yes, it does. It stands to reason then that writing might increase mental health because it offers a safe, confidential, and free way to disclose emotions that were previously bottled up. I always tell people it's a physiological response to get it out of your body. It really does help, I swear. All right, so, however, recent studies have begun to show that an increase of self-awareness rather than simply disclosing emotions could also be part of the improvements in mental health. So, in essence, self-awareness, and remember that's the second A in BADASS in the acronym, self-awareness, is being able to turn your attention inward towards the self. By turning your attention inward and becoming more aware of your own traits, behavior, and feelings, beliefs, values, and motivations. I teach you all how to do all of these things, which is why I am loving this article so much. That is basically validating what I teach. So research suggests that becoming more self-aware can be beneficial in a variety of ways. So it can increase your confidence and encourage you to be more accepting of others. It can lead to higher job satisfaction and push us to become more effective leaders. It can also help us to exercise more self-control and make better decisions aligned with our long-term goals. Self-awareness is a spectrum, and with practice, we can all improve. Writing might be particularly helpful in increasing self-awareness because it can be practiced daily. Rereading our writing can also give us deeper insight into our thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and beliefs. Absolutely true. So there are three types of writings that can improve your self-awareness and in turn, your mental health. Expressive writing. So that's what basically is writing in the therapeutic settings where you write about your thoughts and feelings related to a stressful life event. All right, this type of writing aims to help emotionally process something really difficult. We do a lot of that in grief work. Research shows that expressive writing can enhance self-awareness, ultimately decreasing depressive symptoms, anxious thoughts, and perceived stress. Sometimes people mistake the idea that writing down what you're thinking and feeling only causes it to become more real and permanent. That's not necessarily the case. It basically decreases your depressive symptoms and gets it purged out of your body. Reflective writing is another form of writing that's regularly used in professional settings as a way to help nurses, doctors, teachers, psychologists like me, and social workers become more effective at our jobs. Reflective writing aims to give people a way to assess their beliefs and actions explicitly for learning and development. Writing reflectively requires a person to ask themselves questions and continuously be open, curious, and analytical. It can increase self-awareness by helping people learn from the experiences and interactions. This can improve professional and personal relationships as well as work performance, which are key indicators of good mental health. And then, of course, there's creative writing. Poems, short stories, novellas, and novels are all considered forms of creative writing. I do a lot of those, and I'm going to be doing more of those. I'm no longer going to be writing self-help books, but I am going to be writing my novels and my novellas and my poems and my short stories. Usually, creative writing employs the imagination as well, or instead of memory, and uses literary devices like imagery and metaphor to convey meaning. Writing creatively offers a unique way to explore thoughts and feelings and ideas. For instance, you could write a science fiction novel that represents your concerns about climate change, or a children's story that speaks to your beliefs about friendship. You could also write a poem from the perspective of an owl as a way to represent your insomnia. Writing is so crucial to your mental health. And I wanted to share this article with you because it is really important, as we continue along our journey to be successfully badass and we stay the course, so I shared with you that part of what helped me stay the course in these moments of where you've been derailed again, or you've got a new obstacle, or maybe you're just waiting to heal, waiting for that job to come in, waiting for the economy to shift, or waiting for, somebody to show up. I don't know what it is that you might be waiting for, but I always love writing as a therapeutic tool. So it's also very important to improve your self-knowledge. Learning is another key aspect to living successfully badass. And, it's like, so what other failure or crisis have you suffered recently besides the pandemic? I know my clients intimately. So sometimes when I'm on this podcast, I have them in my mind, what they've experienced. And I also know that from my personal experience, this has been a really rough 15 months. It really has, even for me too. But I fortunately feel confident that my badass program has been successful because, I'm still here and I've got a podcast going. I didn't fall apart. I've been able to successfully navigate through my private practice, helping my clients navigate their way through this pandemic while also navigating it for myself. And I know that music and writing and exercising and mindfulness practices have been critical and crucial for me to get through this. And I teach you all of that. Making a comeback after a crisis, whether it's a failed business, failed relationship, failing health, definitely challenging. So what do you do when it seems that everyone else's life and career path has always been on the upswing? They talk about all their successes and where they're at and how they've won all these awards, and maybe you're still struggling to find out how you come back after this crisis. Your priorities have changed. Your focus is different, and you may want to make some changes. I get it. Perhaps a new career or a relationship or even a lifestyle. When you discover this, understand it's going to take you some time. And don't compare yourself to others' success or how their life is going, because you never know what's just around the corner for that individual either, or where they've been to get where they are today. Be grateful for your own experience. James von Prague teaches that life is about change and growth. Have the courage to step out of self-imposed expectations and try a brand new experience. Now, one of the things I've got for you is some tips for productivity. It is an adaptation of my badass habits, but it's a PDF and it's only got 10 of them. So it's printable. You can put it on your refrigerator. You can put it on your filing cabinet. You can put it in your break room at your office. Share it with your friends. Basically, it's habits that'll help you refocus and rethink how to be productive and have a healthy mindset. Too many times we hear the word productivity or productive or the grind, and it makes us exhausted just hearing it. But productive doesn't mean exhaustive. It's all about perspective, attitude, and identifying what's most important to you. Remember, change doesn't happen quickly. You got to keep working at it. My journals showed ups and downs, delays and detours along the way, along the journey to get my license as a psychotherapist, which is honestly how License to Be Badass was formed. That is the origin, the journey to get your license. But once you get the license, man, you got some credibility and you got some tools in your toolbox, and you've got the ability to continue to be that. And so that's why I teach you how to be licensed to be badass or get the license to be badass. I've attempted many projects, job prospects, until something usually, really gained some traction. I went to grad school. I was substitute teaching. I was still developing Orchard Media Services, the FCC compliance consulting business with my dad. I was trying so many different things. I'd even gotten involved with a small group of people who wanted to put a street race on in the city of Victorville. I was writing a novel. Originally, I thought I'd make work part-time at the medical group, teach some college, and promote races while maintaining Orchard Media Services and writing a book. I would apply for a job. I would interview for a job. I was qualified, and then I'd get turned down. Frustrating. Be patient. Don't give up. Your perfect thing will fall into place, but not by magic, because of your boldness. I had to change my tactic, kind of like drowning. I had been fighting this. I was trying to swim upstream. You hear all those things I was trying to do. Doesn't that sound exhausting? I was pretending that it was all going to be over soon and I would be back to normal. We tell our little ones, if you get lost, stay put, I'll find you. But I had this thing that I was doing. I was trying to pick up where I left off. Join an organization like the College Foundation, look for a new job, go back to school. I've abandoned all of that. I needed my head to rest. I had to just stop it. I had to have faith that God had the answer, the solution, the plan for me. And I had to quit looking for the answers. I needed to quit swimming upstream. I just needed to let go and go with it. So I was worried, obviously. I was depressed, feeling a little bit low about myself and not getting anywhere. But then I had to ask myself, what is my hurry? If I was allowed to have this condition that slowed me down, because I did live a pretty fast life, then I'd better stop and slow down. Sometimes I could feel my heart beating strangely, especially at night, and it wasn't going to go away, and I had to stop fretting about it. I had to choose to live simpler. I lived a simple life. Now I'm humble and I'm calm, but it didn't happen overnight. I did have a journey, and I wanted to travel rather than have a big house. And like I just said, I'm leaving for Texas today. And so I'm doing that. I'm living the life. I had talked about one day I'll have grandbabies to love. I do. I have grandbabies to love now. Was it a high pressure job that I wanted, or did I want to help people? I stepped back. I stopped fighting the current, and I just kind of went with it, and I left it alone. Now, I didn't know exactly what I was doing at the time, but I do know that the important part was I was staying the course, and that's very much part of the Badass program. Stop searching so hard. Listen. Wait for the answers. Accept the pause. Be flexible. Be nimble. Now, grab your tips for productivity. The link is in the show notes, all right? You can print it up. You can post it on your refrigerator, like I said. Next month, for the month of July, that's the month that my heart failure occurred. So I'm giving away my book, Heart Lessons, the entire month. So I hope that you'll snag it. But that's coming next month. Today, I want you to get the tips for productivity. That's right. I'm Kelly Orchard, Badass Certifier. This is Wednesday Wisdom. I hope you got some wisdom out of this. For the month of July, we're going to be I'm just going to be cruising, because the second S in Badass stands for Successfully Badass. So I think that my topics might be all over the place for the month of July, because it is Heart Lessons Month. I think I'm going to be sharing a lot more about my heart journey with you, because there's new people just kind of discovering the Badassery podcast, and I want you to understand how it is I got to be here and why I'm here. Of course, you can go back through my archives and listen to all of that stuff, but why would you want to? So let me share with you through the month of July something about heart lessons and the things that maybe haven't been published yet. And, we're going to kind of go on. It's like, these things, these badass tools that I give you will show you and give you everything you need in your toolbox to live a successfully badass life. And I do feel like I have arrived at the badassery subject matter, because I can't go anywhere without people. They may not know my name, but they know I'm the badass lady. I'm the badass certifier. And it's nice to be out and about, seeing people again at mixers and networking events and at, like Rotary Club meetings or luncheons. It is things that a lot of us have really missed out on. And, like we talked about last week, learning how to stretch your social muscle again. We're all starting all over. So the comeback can be stronger than the setback if you put some tools in your toolbox and you utilize them. Thank you so much for joining me. And remember, don't forget, get your tips for productivity. Get on my email list, because I do have a pretty badass digital program available for you today that will give you all of these steps and workshops that you need to get licensed to be badass. You can check it out at my website at licencedtobebadass.com.
Grab your Badass Habits ebook. Get started on your badass journey. Go to licensedtobebadass.com. Friday again, we turn up the energy. Tune in and tune up. Be bold, be brave, be confident, be badass.